Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome. My name is Madhav. I welcome you all in a very important session. We call it as Finance Current Affairs. You know, this very particular session, we discuss the finance current events, which also include the RBI updates, where we cover the RBI notifications, RBI press release, as well as we discuss the RBI publications. So before we start the discussion, may I have a reply in the comment section that I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. So just give me yes sir if I'm audible, everything is fine, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Remember that, guys, this session is going to help you in all your upcoming examination, whether it is upcoming RBI Grade A examination, or maybe it is your IFSC examination, RBI Grade B examination, or SEBI Grade A examination. This session will be helpful for every exam which is going to happen in the near future. There is one best part of the regulatory body exams कि अगर आप देखें जुलाई में हम पहुंच चुके हैं, almost mid of July या first week of July complete हो चुका है, but still there is no notification out. Now you must be wondering कि सर ये बात अच्छी कैसे हुई? ये बात अच्छी कुछ इस तरह से हुई कि अभी तक किसी भी रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज का एग्जामिनेशन कंडक्ट नहीं हुआ. अब अगर किसी भी रेगुलेटरी बॉडी का एग्जामिनेशन कंडक्ट नहीं हुआ तो इसका मतलब है कि आने वाले जो अगले 5 महीने हैं, द नेक्स्ट 5 to 6 months of this calendar year, we can expect at least 3 to 4 regulatory body exam, जिसमें NABARD है, we have RBI in the list, then we have PFRD already notified, and we are expecting IFSC as well as IRDAI. So you continue with your preparation. Give your 100%, or I would say more than 100% if you want to clear this examination in the very first attempt. ठीक है जी? So I guess all of you have joined. We are good to go. So let's get started with the discussion. But before I start, just give me a thumbs up if audio, video, everything is fine, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. I can assure you, after this session, you will be counting on me that yes, you have learned many new things and they are going to help you a lot while writing the descriptive answer as well as while answering the phase 1 and phase 2 objective questions as well. If you want to download the PDF of this session, it is available on my Telegram channel. Scan the code, join the Telegram channel in order to download the PDF. I'll start my discussion with the first news. The first news is related to RBI notification, that is review of Citizens Charter of Reserve Bank of India. So before we move ahead, before we discuss this particular point, I'm pretty sure, guys, you might have visited the RBI website many times, है? And whenever you visit the RBI website, what is the reason due to which you are visiting the RBI website? So you are visiting the RBI website so that you can prepare for your RBI Grade B examination. But one day you came to know that one of your friend who is not even preparing for RBI Grade B exam, he is also visiting the RBI website. Then the first question in your mind is, why you are visiting the RBI website? So he replied that I am visiting the RBI website because I have to raise a complaint against the unclaimed deposits, or it's my right. So I have written, or I have come up with the application under the right to information, or maybe I had the government securities, they were in physical form. Physical form का मतलब paper form में, physical form का मतलब paper form में मेरे पास government security थी, और उस government security को जो कि मेरे पास paper form में थी, that has been lost, but I am the owner of that particular security and I want to renew it. I want a duplicate copy of it. तो उस purpose के लिए I am reaching to the RBI website. अब इतना ही नहीं. अब if I talk about banks, so banks, they are also visiting the RBI website. The NBFCs, they are also visiting the RBI website. Even the companies which are looking forward to seek a license for a bank, seek a license for an NBFC, they are also visiting the RBI website. They are also visiting. जब आप अभी RBI की वेबसाइट ओपन करते हैं, और वेबसाइट ओपन करने के बाद यू नीड टू ड्रैग डाउन, और ड्रैग डाउन करने के बाद लास्ट में whenever you open the RBI website, you will see there are certain options like they start with the term that is more links. They start with a term that is more links, and the moment you click on the term that is more links, okay, I hope it's fine now. So there was some error with the network. I have changed my network to upgraded one, so it will be fine. So the point is, if you are a customer or if you are a regulated entity, whenever you want to check out the RBI website, you can go check out the RBI website and you can raise your request. For example, as I was talking, if you are a bank, then also you can go to the RBI website, and even if you are a customer, in that particular case also, you are allowed to visit the RBI website. As you can see on the screen itself, I have opened up the screen for you. As you can see on this, there is a term that is known as more links. After that, we have bank holidays, bank glossary. This is the term that is citizen charter. The moment you click on this term citizen charter, you will find out that citizen charter is basically a point, it's basically a place where the regulated entities as well as the customers, the individuals like you and me, they can reach to raise the request. Now the question is, sir, पहले तो आप बता रहे थे कि regulated entities हैं and we have the individuals, they reach on RBI website, but what is the difference you're talking about? So earlier जो difference था, there were two different links for regulated entities and there was one different link for the customer, which we call it as customer charter. But इसमें ना कहीं बार there was a confusion between the customers or the individuals or with the regulated entity. So in order to overcome this problem, RBI has combined all the services available for regulated entities as well as the services available for the individuals under a single window, and that has been called as what? So that has been called as citizen charter. That has been called as what? So that has been called as citizen charter. समझ आई ये बात? अब इसको समझते हैं. Please pay attention. RBI has announced the timeline for the RBI or the regulatory approvals and citizen charter for delivery of services. तो 2014 में RBI ने timelines भी fix किए थे, where RBI has made this point very clear that there will be two different timelines for regulatory approvals as well as for the citizen charters. The moment I talk about the timelines for regulatory approvals, for regulatory entities, या आप ये कहें कि for regulated entities which need RBI approval for setting up a new branch, for seeking a license to operate as a bank. So like this, 133 services were provided or are provided by RBI. So earlier there was a different head known as regulatory approvals. So banks, they click on regulatory approvals, and individuals like you and me, they click on the term that is citizen charter. So this head included services provided by RBI to only and only its regulated entities, like we have banks, we have NBFCs, we have cooperatives and whatnot. What kind of services? If you want to raise request or if you want to apply to get a banking license or you want to get your license renewed, approval for opening or shifting the branch, permission of foreign investment, approval of new financial product, NBFC registration, conversion, merger or cancellation, all these services were provided under the head that was known as regulatory approval. And the second head was citizen charter, which included 58 services. It is basically the charter, which means it includes the listed public facing services that RBI provided to the individual. So it includes only those services which RBI provide to the individual. These did not necessarily require regulatory approval. So these are not basically for the regulatory approval part. This is basically to raise a complaint. This is basically to get the information under RTI. This is basically to raise a request for duplicate government securities. So in that particular scenario, we have citizen charter, and on the other side we had the regulatory approvals. अब हुआ क्या जब RBI को समझ आया कि भैया ये जो दो डिफरेंट प्लेटफॉर्म्स हमने ओपन अप कर दिए, ये जो दो डिफरेंट प्लेटफॉर्म्स हमने ओपन अप कर दिए, दे आर नॉट डूइंग रियली वेरी वेल. Why they are not doing really very well? So the reason is quite obvious. They are not doing really very well, as in it is creating confusion. It is creating confusion among the public, और it is creating confusion among the stakeholders. तो इस प्रॉब्लम को देखते हुए आरबीआई ने रिसेंटली अपडेट किया, एंड व्हाट अपडेट हैज बीन डन बाय आरबीआई? सर, आरबीआई has recently updated. RBI has recently updated, and RBI said that from now onwards there will be only single head. From now onwards there will be a single head, और इस single head पे there will be a single head, और इसी single head पे रेगुलेटरी अप्रूवल्स भी मिलेंगे, और इसी सिंगल हेड पे सिटीजन रिलेटेड सर्विसेज भी प्रोवाइड की जाएंगी बाय आरबीआई. सो 133 सर्विसेज related to regulatory approvals, 58 services related to citizens. Now they have combined under a single point, under a single platform, that is citizen charter. ठीक है जी. तो यहां से अब आपको चीजें ध्यान में रखनी है. वो क्या? सर, आरबीआई earlier offered services under two different heads. One is timeline for regulatory approval, second one is citizen charter. After review, all services total 204, they have been now combined under a single umbrella, that is citizen charter. And the timeline means the response time which RBI is going to take against the service provided, that timeline has also reduced in order to ease out the process of operation. Now if I talk about the services, if you want to enjoy any kind of service from RBI, or maybe you are looking forward for regulatory approval, or you are here to go for n number of other customer related services, so out of 204 services, 180 services will be delivered through Pravaha portal, 180 services will be delivered through Pravaha portal, rest 14 services offline, and rest 10 of the services will be provided through the e-Kuber platform of RBI. अब आप सोच रहे होंगे कि सर क्या ये सबको याद करना है? नहीं नहीं नहीं, ये याद नहीं करना, जस्ट रिमेंबर इट, ताकि अगर क्वेश्चन पूछा जाए तो यू विल बी इन अ पोजीशन टू आंसर द क्वेश्चन. सो इट इज इफेक्टिव फ्रॉम 1st of July 2025. दैट इज द रीजन. जैसे मैंने अभी आपके लिए वेबसाइट ओपन की, देयर वाज ओनली वन हेड ओपन, दैट इज सिटीजन चार्टर. अगर हम इसे ओपन करते मे बी अ मंथ अगो, देन वी मस्ट हैव फाउंडेड वन मोर I would say clickable link on the website that would have named as regulatory approval. लेकिन अब वो regulatory approval वाली services को किसके अंदर combine कर दिया? So they have been included under the citizen charter itself. ठीक है. होगा क्या सर? इससे accessibility improve होगी, ट्रांसपेरेंसी बढ़ेगी, आरबीआई को रिस्पॉन्स करने में आसानी होगी, user experience will improve, and undoubtedly it will promote digitization of RBI services as well as RBI workflow. So if you have any doubt regarding the same, you want to check out how you can file an RTI to RBI, in that particular case you can go to the Pravaha portal. There are videos available, so watch the video, check out the process, and even you can write down the RTI application to RBI. That is allowed. समझ आ गया जी? क्लियर हो गया? एनी डाउट टिल दिस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट यू मे आस्क प्लीज. सो व्हाट इज दिस सिटीजन चार्टर? ये भी क्लियर है. व्हाट इज दिस रेगुलेटरी approval? That is also clear. What is citizen charter? That is also clear. How many services? Now they have been combined. Many of the services will be provided on the portal. We call it as Pravaha portal. Rest are offline or on the other platforms. Got it? Confirm. Do give me yes sir. Do give me yes sir if this news is clear to you. If you have understood the news, give me yes sir. Okay, so Yeshu is the first one to say all fine. Okay, if it is all fine to you all guys, then give me the answer. The question is now on your screen. Which of the following statement is true about the RBI's revised citizen charter implemented on 1st of July 2025? It subsumes 204 services out of 160 are offline. Wrong. It integrates 180 services under Pravaha portal. This is fine. It merges all services under e-Kuber platform. Wrong. It requires RBI officers to respond. So timeline पे कोई बात की ही नहीं गई. It discontinues over the counter submission option. That is also wrong. तो 180 services हैं which you enjoy through Pravaha portal, 10 through offline portal. Sorry. 10 or 14, 14 through offline portal, and 10 services you will enjoy through e-Kuber and other portals. So keeping that in mind, which statement is correct? So B option is correct. Rest all the options which are mentioned on the screen are absolutely incorrect. Very good. Very good. Palu has given the answer for the Palu has given the correct answer और सबसे पहले आंसर भी दिया साक्षी Saloni. Very good. चलो. Now let's move on to the next question. The next news is related to World Bank has presented a report. We call it as Poverty and Equity Brief. Basically, this report is presented by World Bank twice in a year. It is presented by World Bank twice, 2 times in a year. So this report, it is termed as spring report because it is presented just in front of spring season or during the spring season. Now you must be wondering, ये सर spring season, यहाँ तो summers चल रही है, आप spring season की बात कर रहे हो, ऐसा क्यों? बेटा प्रॉब्लम है इस रिपोर्ट के साथ. रिपोर्ट के साथ प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि वर्ल्ड बैंक हैज प्रेजेंटेड दिस रिपोर्ट ऑन इट्स वेबसाइट इन अप्रैल इटसेल्फ. हैज प्रेजेंटेड दिस रिपोर्ट ऑन इट्स वेबसाइट इन अप्रैल इटसेल्फ. लेकिन हुआ क्या कि सर इस रिपोर्ट को नजरअंदाज किया गया इन इंडिया एंड फाइनली few days back this report was mentioned on PIB. This report was mentioned on PIB. तो जैसे ये रिपोर्ट PIB पे आई, it has become important for us because it can be asked in the examination. तो ये रिपोर्ट लेटेस्ट नहीं है. This report was presented back in April 2025 and now it was in news because it was presented on our PIB platform. ठीक है जी, यहां तक पॉइंट क्लियर हुआ, लॉजिक क्लियर हुआ इस रिपोर्ट के पीछे कि ये रिपोर्ट इतनी बाद में क्यों आई या इसके बारे में हम डिस्कशन इतनी बाद में क्यों कर रहे हैं. अब क्वेश्चन आता है कि सर इस रिपोर्ट में क्या क्या बातें की गई हैं. इफ यू कैन सी द नेम ऑफ द रिपोर्ट वेरी क्लियरली, रिपोर्ट के नाम से क्लियर हो रहा है, रिपोर्ट के नाम से इसकी नियत क्लियर हो रही है. आई वुड से विद द नेम ऑफ द रिपोर्ट इट इज वेरी मच क्लियर दैट व्हाट इज दिस रिपोर्ट ऑल अबाउट. इफ आई टॉक अबाउट दिस रिपोर्ट इज ऑल अबाउट टू थिंग्स. फर्स्ट वन, दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इक्विटी. Second one, they are talking about poverty. They are talking about poverty. So in order to identify, in order to calculate equity, what is the method? So in order to calculate equity, there is a coefficient which is used. We call it as Gini's coefficient. We call it as Gini's coefficient. And with the help of Gini's coefficient, we calculate income inequality. We calculate income inequality. Now the question over here is, so how this income inequality is calculated? Then my answer to this particular question is, so there are two methods. Please pay attention. There are two methods to calculate income inequality. First one is with the help of income distribution. What do you mean by the term with the help of income distribution? So it basically means with the help of Lorentz curve. तो Lorentz curve क्या है? So first of all we draw a 45 degree line. और इस 45 degree line का मतलब क्या? So here we have income proportionate and here we have population proportionate. So इसका मतलब क्या? If this is 10%, which means 10% of population is earning 10% of income. 20% of population is earning 20% of the total income, which shows what? So it shows equality. It shows what? It shows equality, that there is no disparity in terms of income. Everybody in the country is earning equal value. But that is practically incorrect. That is not possible practically. So practically what is going to happen? So practically we know this very well that for the initial population, if I first mark the low income population, so in case of low income population is increasing at a very high rate in comparison to increase in income value. So as you can see, 30% of the population is yet below 10% income value. It is yet below 10% income value, and this gap between the equality line and the actual income distribution of the nation gives us what? So this gives us inequality, and this inequality is calculated. So it is calculated as an area of AB. I'll mark this point. Let's say this is C. So this is income inequality is equals to area of area of ABCA, I hope you get this point, ABCA, in comparison to what? Sir, in comparison to area of ABD, in comparison to area of ABD. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ सर? इसका मतलब है जितना ज्यादा ये एरिया होगा, प्लीज पे अटेंशन, जितना ज्यादा ये एरिया होगा उतनी ज्यादा इनइक्वालिटी होगी, है ना? जितना ज्यादा ये एरिया होगा उतनी ज्यादा इनकम इनइक्वालिटी होगी. सो बेसिकली इफ दिस रेड लाइन कर्व, अगर ये रेड लाइन कर्व हमारा इस लाइन पे आ जाए, अगर हमारा रेड लाइन कर्व मतलब हमारा एक्चुअल इनकम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन अगर इक्वालिटी के लाइन पे आ गया तो इनकम इनइक्वालिटी क्या होगी? जीरो. इनकम इनइक्वालिटी क्या होगी? जीरो. और अगर ये रेड लाइन कर्व हमारा बिल्कुल नीचे चला गया, बिल्कुल नीचे जाने का मतलब कि पॉपुलेशन 99% पॉपुलेशन की इनकम जीरो, सिर्फ 1% की इनकम है 100%, तो ये क्या होगा? सो दिस विल बी, ये जो एरिया होगा ABCA दैट विल बी इक्वल्स टू ABD. तो इसका मतलब जो गिनीज कोफिशिएंट का रेंज है दैट इज बिटवीन 0 to 1. गिनीज कोफिशिएंट का जो रेंज है दैट इज बिटवीन 0 to 1, और वी कैन इवन कीप इट एज 0 to 100. समझ आ रही है मेरी बातें? इज दिस पॉइंट क्लियर टू एवरीवन? इज दिस पॉइंट क्लियर टू एवरीवन? ठीक है. अगर ये पॉइंट आप सबको क्लियर है तो यहां से एक बात बहुत क्लियर है कि जिस भी नेशन का गिनीज कोफिशिएंट is close to 0, that nation has more income, equality, और जिस नेशन का गिनीज कोफिशिएंट बड़ा होगा, closer to 1, that nation will have higher value of income inequality. समझ आ गई ना बात? अगर ये पॉइंट समझ आया तो दिस इज हाउ वी कैलकुलेट द इनकम इनइक्वालिटी ऑफ द नेशन. बट दिस इज वन मेथड टू डू इट. द अदर मेथड टू डू द सेम इज, अगर आप इनकम इनइक्वालिटी निकालना चाहते हैं, द सेकेंड पॉइंट इज व्हाट यू विल डू. सो यू विल डू इट विद द हेल्प ऑफ कंजम्पशन मेथड. नाउ व्हाट इज कंजम्पशन मेथड? So consumption method basically means we calculate the inequality on the basis of consumption done by the country's nation or consumption done by the country's resident. अब इनमें अगर consumption equal तो inequality zero. अब इस consumption में जितना ज्यादा गैप होगा उतनी ज्यादा inequality होगी, जितना ज्यादा गैप होगा उतनी ज्यादा inequality होगी, और जितना कम गैप होगा उतनी कम inequality होगी. सो इन दिस पर्टिकुलर रिपोर्ट देखना जरा, इस रिपोर्ट में बहुत एक मेजर इशू है जो कि अभी तक पता नहीं कि गवर्नमेंट ने एड्रेस किया है या नहीं ऑफिशियली, बट गवर्नमेंट ने इसमें एक बहुत बड़ा झोल की है, एक बहुत बड़ी गलती हुई है गवर्नमेंट से. वो गलती क्या हुई है? गवर्नमेंट इन इट्स स्टेटमेंट केम अप विद द पॉइंट दैट India's inequality has reached to 4th level. That means now India inequality is decreasing. India's inequality is decreasing. Even इन्होंने ये भी कहा in the report that India is on the 4th rank. That means only 3 nations below to reach to a point of highest equality based nation in the world. ठीक. दूसरा पॉइंट इन्होंने कहा कि India is outperforming with respect to US. India has performed really very well with respect to UK. India has performed really very well with respect to China. ये सारी बातें हमसे की गई, बट इन सारी बातों में एक प्रॉब्लम है. प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि सर ये जो स्कोर है ना, जिस स्कोर पे हम बात कर रहे हैं, वो स्कोर है इंडिया की इनकम इनइक्वालिटी का, दैट इज 25.5, विच इज अ वेरी गुड स्कोर, अनडाउटेडली विच इज अ वेरी गुड स्कोर. बट ये जो स्कोर है ना, इट हैज बीन कैलकुलेटेड ऑन कंजम्पशन मेथड टू कैलकुलेट गिनीज कोफिशिएंट. तो आपने जो कंजम्पशन मेथड से गिनीज कोफिशिएंट कैलकुलेट किया, ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर बेसिस योर स्कोर इज 25.5, बट यू आर कंपेयरिंग विद द नेशंस स्कोर बेस्ड ऑन इनकम मेथड. तो आपने अपना जो मेथड लिया वो तो ले लिया कंजम्पशन मेथड, और उनका जो मेथड लिया वो लिया इनकम मेथड। और जो कंजम्पशन मेथड है उस कंजम्पशन मेथड में ऑब्वियसली इनइक्वालिटी कम ही होगी, ऑब्वियसली इनइक्वालिटी कम ही होगी, स्पेशली इन नेशन लाइक इंडिया। सर आप बोलना क्या चाह रहे हो, सोच के देखो, जस्ट थिंक वंस। इंडिया में एवरीवन इज रनिंग बिहाइंड टू सेव द फंड्स। ये जो आजकल बड़ी बड़ी बातें होने लगी हैं कि इंडिया में वर्ल्ड की कॉस्टलीस्ट कार है, इंडिया में वर्ल्ड की मोस्ट एक्सपेंसिव याच है, या इंडिया में वर्ल्ड का मोस्ट एक्सपेंसिव प्राइवेट जेट है, दिस हैज बीन इंट्रोड्यूस्ड आफ्टर द इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ सोशल मीडिया, आफ्टर द एक्सपोजर, आफ्टर द आई वुड से द यंगस्टर्स, दे आर टेकिंग कंट्रोल ऑफ देयर फैमिली बिजनेसेस। लेकिन अगर आप पुरानी बात करें तो लोगों के घरों में इतना पैसा दबा रहा कि उन्होंने कभी बाहर दिखाया तक नहीं। तो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, सर consumption method do not give true picture of the individual's income। तो अगर आपके इंडिविजुअल के इनकम का ट्रू पिक्चर कंजम्पशन नहीं है, देन इट्स क्वाइट ऑब्वियस कंजम्पशन मेथड से निकाली गई इनइक्वालिटी विल आल्सो नॉट गिव यू अ ट्रू पिक्चर। मींस सर अगर आप मुझे कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं कि मेरा लेवल क्या है, मेरा आप इनकम लेवल कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं, बट मुझसे मेरी इनकम नहीं पूछ रहे, यू आर कैलकुलेटिंग ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ माय कंजम्पशन। हो सकता है कि मेरी कंजम्पशन बराबर हो टू द इंडिविजुअल हु इज मे बी अर्निंग 10 times टू मी, दैट इज पॉसिबल। और मेरा जो कंजम्पशन है दैट कुड बी इवन इक्वल टू एन इंडिविजुअल हु इज अर्निंग मे बी 1/5 ऑफ मी, ये भी पॉसिबल है। क्योंकि कंजम्पशन is only and only dependent upon your demands, your requirements, and these demands, these requirements, they do not depend on income, they depend on your, I would not say they are not influenced because of your income, they will be influenced, but that doesn't mean कि अगर आपकी income बढ़ेगी तो आपका consumption भी बढ़ेगा, because basic consumption is going to remain the same। अब मेरी family में जो consumption of grocery है that is going to be the same। It doesn't mean that if my income has increased I will be consuming rather than 10 I will be consuming 20 kgs of wheat, that is not the case। I'll just increase the quality of goods which I am purchasing, but my consumption is not going to shoot up the way my income is shooting up। So that means if you are calculating the income, if you are calculating the inequality through the consumption method and you think कि जो consumption है that is corresponding to your income, that is wrong। If you think that your consumption is corresponding to your income, दैट इज रॉन्ग। हो सकता है कि आपकी कंजम्पशन बहुत ज्यादा हो लेकिन इनकम उसके मुकाबले बहुत ज्यादा ना हो, दैट मींस योर सेविंग इज ऑलमोस्ट जीरो। हो सकता है कि आपकी कंजम्पशन बहुत कम हो लेकिन आपकी इनकम बहुत ज्यादा हो, व्हिच मींस योर सेविंग इज वेरी large। So as a calculator, as a surveyor, I don't have access to your savings, so I have calculated the income inequality, which has been very clearly mentioned in the World Bank's report, that India's income inequality has been calculated on the basis of consumption method, on the basis of which India has received a score of 25.5 and India is one of the top performing nations in its own clan। I'll talk about the clan, किस clan की मैं बात कर रहा हूं, किस group की मैं बात कर रहा हूं। But अगर now you go back and calculate India's income inequality on the basis of income method, you will find that India's score is pretty high। We are around 62। और अगर आप इस 62 स्कोर को दिमाग में रखें तो ये जो आपने क्लेम किया रिसेंटली दैट इंडिया हैज surpassed G7, India has surpassed G20 nations, India is performing better than G7 nations, India is performing better than G20 nations। अरे भाई आपका जो डेटा है that is on the basis of consumption method, that data does not give the true picture of income inequality, and you are comparing with the other nations where the Gini's coefficient is also calculated for some of the nations on income method as well, is calculated through income method as well। तो ये यूनिफॉर्म है ही नहीं, वर्ल्ड बैंक ने कोई रैंकिंग दी ही नहीं, ये तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ इंडियन अथॉरिटीज ने जब इस रिपोर्ट को पढ़ा, they have given the ranking from their own pocket just by going through with the data, but they have, I would say, misjudge that for India it is consumption method on the basis of which calculation is done, and for some of the nations calculation is done on the income method, and it is incorrect to compare them, it is incorrect to rank them। So this is the fault which has been done in this particular news। समझ आ गई बात? क्लियर हो गई कहानी? मजा आया? मजा आया? कहां से शुरू किया, कहां आकर खत्म हुई, ये क्लियर होना बहुत जरूरी है. इफ इट इज क्लियर, गिव मी यस सर. नाउ आई विल रीड द एंटायर न्यूज फॉर यू. क्यों क्वेश्चन क्यों नहीं आएगा आरिफ? क्वेश्चन आने के मुझे लगता है और ज्यादा चांसेस हैं. अब एक ऐसी न्यूज जिसको इंटरप्रेट गलत किया गया नेशन में, उस पर क्वेश्चन बनता ही बनता. तो वर्ल्ड बैंक द्वारा ये जो कंजम्पशन मेथड है जिसकी मदद से यू कैलकुलेट द इनकम इनइक्वालिटी और इनकम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन मेथड है, दिस गिव्स यू अ ग्रेट अपॉर्चुनिटी दैट द क्वेश्चन कैन बी आस्क्ड. ठीक है. नहीं आयुष, नहीं आयुषी, यू आर रॉन्ग. अंकित, हाँ अंकिता, आयुषी अंकिता, that is wrong. In the report they have not talked about 52 to 62 wala mark. This is not discussed. That is some other report where this criteria of 52 to 62 is given. In the report which I am talking about, in that particular report, nothing is given, only 25.5 is given, and they have mentioned that it is on the basis of consumption method. So I'll read out for you. World Bank released its report titled Spring 2025 Poverty and Equity Brief, highlight poverty, shared prosperity, and inequality. The briefs are released twice a year, spring and annual meeting of the World Bank and International Monetary Fund. Each poverty and equality brief consists of 2-page country summary, जिसमें country की summary दी गई है, which has an overview of recent developments in the poverty reduction along with the latest data of key development indicators. So poverty rates and the total number of poor in a nation is measured on the basis of international extreme poverty line, which was 2.15 in 2017, and it is in the purchasing power parity terms. Purchasing power parity terms means you will be calculating the income in the nation not on the basis of absolute exchange rate, rather it will be calculated by including the PPP factor as well. और इंडिया का जो PPP factor है, if I'm not wrong, that is around 4. That is around 4, or I would say $1 is equals to around 20 to 25 rupees on PPP basis. ठीक है जी. So on that particular basis you will be making the calculation. So if you see 2.15, जो कि अब तो change हो गया, the latest extreme poverty criteria has changed to rupees $3 per day. That is true. This is the latest update. I agree to this. लेकिन जो report का data है, that has been created on the previous mark of 2.15 in 2017 on the triple P factor. So if you see this and you'd say that India's currency is, let's say, around 25, let's take the extreme value, then it will be 50, 50 and 53, 54, or maybe it will be around 60 that you will be getting. क्योंकि ये भी 4 exactly नहीं है ना, it is around 3 to 4 factor. तो उसके basis पे ये जो value आएगी, that will be 22 to 85 को divide कर लेते हैं 2 से, so it is around 28. तो उसके basis पे when you calculate, it will come around 60 rupees. So the population which is not earning at least 60 rupees in a day in India, it has reduced a lot. That is correct. It has reduced a lot. That is correct. Now let's check out the important points. So in this discussion, you need to understand that India ranked 4th most equal country in the world in terms of consumption based Gini's coefficient. Sir, वहां पे consumption based Gini's coefficient तो है, but ये जो ranking given है, this is wrong. You should not follow this particular ranking. You should not remember this rank. It is not going to help you. If you are remembering this rank, that means you are going on a wrong direction. Clear होगी ये बात? So I have just taken this ranking intentionally so that I can make you aware that you do not remember this ranking. So I am removing it. India, in terms of, or I would say, India inequality is calculated. India's inequality is calculated in terms of consumption based Gini's coefficient. और अगर हम इस coefficient की बात करें, what is the value? So the value is 25.5, which has improved from 28.8. That is a good call. भैया पहले जो आपका consumption based Gini's coefficient था, that was very high. that was 28.8, but now it has dropped down to 25.5. अब आगे बढ़ने से पहले the things which we have just discussed, I'll just quickly read out for you. Gini's coefficient is what? Sir, it is a statistical measure of income or wealth inequality in a country. It ranges from 0 to 1 or 0 to 100. If you are giving it in a value, it is 0 to 1. If you express it in the terms of percentage, then it will be 0 to 100. 0 means perfect equality, 1 means perfect inequality. This is the formula which I have already discussed. This is the area and this is A upon A plus B. This is something which you need to remember. Moving on to the next point. The next point says Gini's coefficient is calculated through two bases. First one is consumption based Gini's coefficient and the other one is income based Gini's coefficient. So it measures the inequality in household expenditure or consumption. It measures the inequality in total income earned by the individual or household. On that particular basis, it's India's Gini's coefficient has improved from 28.8 to 5.5, but in case of income inequality, India's Gini's coefficient has deteriorated. It has decreased from 52 to 62. अब आप कहोगे सर स्कोर तो बढ़ गया. हाँ, स्कोर बढ़ गया, but inequality भी बढ़ गई ना. So equality कम हुई. So it is 52 to 62 according to WID data. अब ये WID data क्या है? This is on the screen. Please pay attention. What does it say? It says WID basically means World Inequality Database. So World Inequality Database is a research initiative led by economist Thomas, tracking income and wealth distribution using tax, survey, national income data and whatnot. So rising income inequality in India, especially seen after liberalization, and India's Gini's coefficient for income has increased from 52 in 2004 to 62 in 2023, which indicate the gap between rich and poor is increasing, and this is true. कुछ दिन पहले there was a press conference of Nitin Gadkari sahab. He has also mentioned this कि India में अमीर अमीर हो रहा है, गरीब गरीब हो रहा है. So now his statement and this report, it syncs with itself because this is calculated on the basis of consumption, but actually on the basis of income part, India's Gini's coefficient has not improved, rather it has deteriorated. समझ आ गई बात? So consumption data उतना important नहीं है because rich households especially, they underreport their consumption. No one is going to tell you that I have purchased a watch of 10 lakh rupees or I have purchased a LV bag of 4 lakh rupees. No one is going to share this information with you. Poor households spend most of their income, so their consumption closely reflects their income. So poor household के case में तो it's true that whatever they are earning, they are spending the entire or almost the entire amount, but in case of rich population, that is incorrect. Wealth and saving of the rich, they cannot be captured in the consumption data, and that is the reason it do not give you the correct picture. So income data from World Inequality Database and tax records tends to be more accurate for the top income groups, relieving higher inequality. इसीलिए जब भी कभी you'll calculate the Gini's coefficient through consumption method, it will be low in comparison to the income inequality method. तो हुआ क्या? इंडिया की जो कैलकुलेशन थी that was done through on consumption method, लेकिन जब उस रिपोर्ट को पढ़ा गया, उस रिपोर्ट को पढ़ते समय what I would say the one who has informed this or the authority which has shared this information with the nation, they have made a mistake and they have accidentally compared the consumption based Gini's inequality coefficient with the income based Gini's inequality coefficient और बता दिया पूरी कंट्री को कि हम 4th रैंक पर आ गए in terms of equality. That is wrong. ये है ट्रू पिक्चर कि कंजम्पशन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से yes it is improved, but income के point of view से it has deteriorated from 52 to 62. जितना close होगा score 100 के उतना it will be on a negative side, उतना it shows that the inequality is high. That will show the inequality is high. Now, if I talk about India falls in the category of moderately low range, where India's score is 25 to 30. India will fall in the category of low inequality on the basis of consumption, maybe in the next report, and we have the third category where we say the inequality is moderate to high. So this is again this category is given, but they have included US in this because they have included the US data from income wala part. That is the reason it is wrong. So I would suggest you this third column is not important. Just go through with the first two columns so that you have an idea that on what basis countries are categorized. Moving on to the next. So as per the World Bank report, it has covered the data of 167 countries. Only 30 countries, including India, they have been placed into moderately low inequality category on the basis of consumption based गिनीज कोफिशिएंट कैलकुलेशन. ठीक है जी. अब इसमें आप क्या क्या आपको याद रखना है. सो आई वुड से this is not important, just read it. In this case you can remember this, but the third column is not important. Now the next point, which is really very important, this table, it holds a great potential that it can be asked in the examination. This table is related to the poverty. So if I talk about extreme poverty, and I talk about, or I take into the consideration the earlier criteria, the earlier poverty, the earlier international poverty line, that is $2.15 per day. According to this, in 2011, 16.2% population of India was under the extreme poverty condition, but now in 2023, it has decreased to 22.3%. If I include the revised line of $3 per day, so on that particular basis in 2023, only 5.3% of the population is below the poverty line. In case of rural poverty, has dropped down to 2.8%. Urban poverty has dropped down to 1.1%. This is very important. As per this report, 171 million Indians, that means 17.1 crore, that means 17.1 crore individuals, they have been taken out of extreme poverty. They have been taken out of extreme poverty from 2011 to 2023. Key states which have contributed to this poverty reduction: Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh. These 5 states, they nearly have 2/3 of the India's poverty reduction. So 2/3 जो poverty reduction हुआ है, that has been because of these 5 nations, and still greater than 50% of the population under extreme poverty line or under extreme poverty condition is in these 5 states only. तो जो total हमारा 5.3% count है, let's say it is 100 individuals. Out of these 100 individuals, more than 50 individuals, they are residing in these 5 states only, which makes up more than 50% of the population residing under or included under extreme poverty conditions. ठीक है जी, समझ आई ये बात. अब जब PIB के प्लेटफॉर्म पे ये न्यूज डिस्कस की गई, in that particular discussion they have also shared that India's poverty data has improved. I agree to that. Poverty data has improved undoubtedly. और अगर ये poverty data improve हुआ है, तो they have given the reason that this poverty data has improved due to the initiatives, due to the policies which have been introduced by the government. So what are those policies? What are those initiatives which has pushed the population out of poverty line or out of poverty conditions? First one, they have mentioned about Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, and I have included only the important part. What is the total number of accounts opened till date? That is 55.69 crore. Your homework is, you need to give me what is the percentage of total accounts opened by women customers. So in the Jan Dhan account category, what percentage of the total accounts are on the name of women customers? Then they have mentioned about Aadhaar. 142 crore Aadhaar cards have been issued. DBT, direct benefit transfer, that means subsidies or benefits provided by the government directly into your bank account. It has reached to a value of 3.48 lakh crore rupees, or it has saved 3.48 lakh crore rupees in order to fight against the leakage. Ayushman Bharat, that is health insurance coverage of 5 lakh rupees per family per year free of cost, has witnessed 41.34 crore cards issued and 32,000 plus empanel hospitals. Then we have Vaya Vandana Yojana, that is to cover the citizens of the age greater than 70 years, launched in 2024. Then we have Stand Up India, SC/ST women entrepreneurs. 82,807 crores has been sanctioned under this scheme, and total loan applicants till date are 2.75 lakhs. देन प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना कोविड में शुरू किया, 80.67 करोड़ बेनिफिशरीज एज ऑफ December 2024 एंजॉयड फ्री राशन. देन प्रधानमंत्री विश्वकर्मा योजना सपोर्ट आर्टिस्ट by providing them with loans, training, as well as toolkit. 30 lakh registration has been done till 30th July 2025. तो ये जो आपका डेटा है ये स्कीम हो गई और ये स्कीम का अपडेटेड डेटा हो गया. दिस इज रियली 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 वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ठीक है जी. अब ये जो डेटा मैंने आपको बताया इस डेटा को आप याद रखिएगा. हो सकता है कि डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन फेज 1 या फेज 2 के एमसीक्यू फॉर्मेट में आ जाए, और अगर डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन नहीं आया then you can utilize this data while typing your descriptive answers. Done है जी. Is it clear? मजा आया? तो PIB पे क्या गलती हुई वो क्लियर हो गया, लेकिन उस गलती को इग्नोर करते हुए what we have to understand, what we have to remember, I guess that is also clear. If everything is clear to you, whatever I have discussed, just give me yes sir, so that we can solve few questions on the same news. Here we go with the first question on the same news. As per the World Bank Spring 2025 Poverty and Equity Brief, India's consumption-based Gini's index dropped to 25.5 in 2022-23. Correct. However, income inequality is reportedly much higher on the basis of income-based Gini's coefficient calculation. So this Gini's coefficient calculation on the basis of the income is done according to which report or this statement कि इंडिया की जो income inequality है it has basically increased. This statement is supported by the data given on or presented on World Inequality Database of World Bank, which says that India's score has increased from 52 to 62 as of 2023, and you are moving close to 100. That means inequality is increasing. That means area is increasing between the equality line and the actual distribution of income among the population. Moving on to the next question. I hope you remember ULI. Why I have introduced this? It is also one of the, I can say, initiative taken by the government to fight against poverty, because this unified lending interface will help especially the weaker section of the society to borrow the loans, and that too in minutes. And I hope you remember ULI is a portal which has been conceptualized by RBI but developed by RBIH, which has access to immense database of different sources, which will provide plug and play feature to the banks so that banks can access data from different data banks. And this data access capacity given to the bank will help the bank to take a quick decision regarding lending to be done or funds to be lended to the weaker section individual depending upon the data they have received. So in this data we include the data from different sources. Even the GST network data is available. Data related to your milk pouring is available. Data related to your Aadhaar card is available. All these data are available. So the unified lending interface aims to democratize credit access. Which of the following is not correctly a core function or a component of integrated within ULI design of July 2025? What will be your answer? Sir, integration with eKCC portal, that is correct. Use of Aadhaar based facial recognition for KYC, नहीं सर अभी इतना एडवांस नहीं हुआ और ना ही इसका मेन कंसर्न है. ULI will provide you a portal where you can complete eKYC of your customer, but that will be done through fingerprints, not through the facial recognition. So facial recognition is wrong. Use of alternative digital data for credit decision, that is true. Inclusion of state level cooperative land records, that is true. Potential linkage with e-commerce and gig workers is true. But which statement is incorrect? So B statement is incorrect. जिसको इसका आंसर नहीं आया एक बार दोबारा से इसके आंसर को पढ़िएगा, क्वेश्चन को पढ़िएगा, then only you will be in a position to answer this question. ठीक है जी. अगले पॉइंट पे बढ़ता है. The next point talks about India becomes the 4th largest biofuel consumer in 2024. मुझे इस न्यूज में भी थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम है. I have a problem with this news as well, because we are talking about biofuel. We are talking about biofuel consumer. So before I start discussing, if I ask you, what do you understand by the word biofuel, guys? How you define this term, biofuel? So whenever this question is asked that what is biofuel, then my answer to this particular question should be loud and clear. My answer should be, sir, biofuel basically means, or I would say biofuel is basically a type of renewable energy made from organic material called biomass, or we can also say that biofuel is something which is used as an alternative of non-renewable source of energy, which satisfy our demand of generating heat or maybe anything else, but the pollution which is caused is not zero, but it will be pretty less. It will not be zero, but it will be pretty less. So we call that as biofuel. So sources include sugarcane, corn, vegetable oil, used cooking oil, wood and agriculture waste, animal fats. They all are used as a source to produce biofuel. अगर मैं biofuel की बात करूं, if I talk about biofuel in my discussion, then I would say ethanol, which is blended with petrol for cars, biodiesel, which is blended with diesel in trucks, biogas used for cooking and production of electricity. Advanced biofuels include algae or waste cooking oil, which is even used for aviation fuel or marine fuel. These are the types of biofuel which are not, I would not say that they are 100% zero polluting fuels, but their pollution is pretty less in comparison to the non-renewable or fossil fuels. So renewable organic material, non-renewable, carbon emission reduced, carbon emission is high. Environmental impact can be resource intensive, pollution of air, water, soil increase on depending on fossil fuels. Energy security decreases dependency on imports, but in case of fossil fuel, your dependency on imports will increase. So this is basically your biofuel. अब आपने कहा कि India is on the 4th rank in terms of biofuel consumption. That is good, which means if India is the 4th largest consumer of biofuel, that means India, or the carbon emission done by India is low. That means the carbon emission done by India is low. But the problem is India is not the leading producer of biofuel in the country, in the world. Agar India would have been the leading producer of biofuel, that would have been much better. That would have been much better, or that would have reflected a much better picture for the Indian economy. So let's read it out. So India became 4th largest biofuel consumer in the world in 2024, surpassing China. ठीक है, लिख दो, but I didn't like it. Why this has been the case? Because India has introduced policies like ethanol blending program, where ethanol is blended with petrol, national bioenergy mission, biodiesel used cooking oil initiative, and whatnot. This reflects India's commitment to renewable energy, as it is the world's 3rd largest overall energy consumer. So India is the world 3rd largest overall energy consumer. India's biofuel consumption has increased at a rate of 31.8%. We call it as compound annual growth rate from 2014 to 2024. That means in last 1 decade, it has increased by 31.8%. So till now, all the points which have been mentioned on the screen, they are important. You have to remember. Now, if I talk about the ranking, so the largest consumer of ethanol is US, 2nd largest is Brazil, Indonesia 3rd, India 4th, and China is on the 5th rank. This is the value they are consuming per day. So this is not to remember, isliye I have strike them out, but I have just given them still in this column because I want you to see the comparison. आप कह रहे हो US is the largest consumer, 856, and India is just 77. India is just 77. इससे बहुत clear हो रहा है कि what are the energy needs of US. It is very much clear that what is the consumption capacity of US, and it is very much clear that how much carbon emission US is saving by consuming the biofuels in comparison to India. Now, whenever you calculate the biofuel consumption, it is always given in the form KBBL OED. What does it mean? So K means whenever we use this word K, it is basically representing 10 to the power 3. हम कहते हैं ना 10K का मतलब क्या हुआ 10,000. So it is basically 10 to the power 3. This BBL, the moment I use this word BBL, so BBL stands for what? So it is barrel of barrel oil equivalent. So it is basically what? So it means that 10 to the power 3 barrels of barrel energy which will be produced by the given barrels of oil. I'll just take an example. If I'm writing this as, I'll just remove my image first. What I'm trying to say, I'll explain you. So K और यहाँ पे अगर M होता तो it is 10 to the power 3, M होता तो K है तो किलो, M होगा तो मेगा, तो ये हो गया 10 to the power 4. Then we have BB, L, then we have OE. So it is basically what? So it is basically barrels of oil equivalent, barrels oil equivalent energy, और इसका मतलब है per day. If I say 77 KKBB LOE per day, तो इसका मतलब क्या? 77,000 barrels of oil जितनी एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस करेंगे, you are consuming the same energy in per day, or you can take it in this manner that you are consuming 77,000 of oil barrels. You are consuming 77,000 of oil barrels, or the energy which is produced that is equivalent to 77,000 of oil barrels. So one BOE is approximately 5.8 British thermal unit, और it is equals to 1700 kilowatt per hour. यानी कि एक जो barrel of oil है, it produces energy of value 1700 kilowatt per hour. तो इंडिया 77 है और US is 856. Just for your understanding, याद क्या रखना है? याद बस इतना रखना है. This is important. Rest is for your understanding. You can just go for it. World की अगर हम बात करें, total world consumption per day, it is 2.2 mega barrels of oil equivalent energy per day. इंडिया का जो ग्रोथ है दैट इज 40% ऑन ईयर बेसिस, और ग्लोबल जो ग्रोथ है दैट इज ओनली 3% ऑन ईयर बेसिस. सो आई जस्ट मार्क इट आउट कि यहाँ पे आपको याद क्या करना है. यू हैव टू मार्क दिस एंड दिस. देयर इज नो नीड टू गो थ्रू विद दिस कॉलम, इट इज जस्ट फॉर योर रेफरेंस. This column is just for your reference, easily I have typed it out already. Last but not the least in this point is regional insights. If I talk about US, as I was talking about US, it is the largest consumer. It is not only the largest consumer, US is also the largest. US is also the largest producer of biofuel. Remember that US, Brazil, Europe together accounts for 75% of total global biofuel consumption. China is still focusing on exporting biodiesel to Europe and Asia rather than increasing its domestic consumption. तो चाइना आज भी dependent है on non-renewable source of energy, और it is preferring to consume non-renewable source of energy, and जितना भी वो biofuel produce कर रहा है that is being sold out in Europe and Asia in order to generate forex reserves, in order to increase its forex reserves. So India's rising biofuel use is in line with its broader clean energy goals and energy diversification strategy. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया point? Clear हो गया? If it is clear, just give me yes sir. So though India is consuming more biofuel, its production is still behind China. So India is not producing more than China, but India is consuming biofuels more than China as per the latest record. There has been increase of 27% from 2023, and from 2014 there is an increase of 30.4%, which is compounded annual, which is compounded which is compounded annual growth rate. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया? Ready for a question? Ready for a question? Say yes or no. देख लो एक बार. Ready for a question? Here you go with the question on the same news. The question says, which of the following country was not listed among the top 5 biofuel consumers globally? So if I talk about top 5 biofuel consumers, US is on the top, है ना? US is on the first rank. Brazil is on the second. Say yes or no. Brazil is on the second. Say yes or no. Have you seen Brazil in the discussion? ध्यान दिया था क्या? Have you seen Brazil in the discussion? It was on second. Indonesia is on third. India is on fourth. China is on fifth. तो आप Russia will be, हम आपके हैं कौन? So answer is going to be E option. ठीक है जी? So Russia is nowhere out here. So Russia will be the answer. Next question देखो जरा. As per 2025 statistical review of world energy, India's biofuel consumption has increased by 40%. Which of the following most accurately explain why China's consumption was lower despite being a larger economy and despite being one of the larger producer of biofuel? One of the larger producer of biofuel. तो इसका आंसर क्या होगा? So because China is exporting more rather than consuming the biofuel, so China is not a nation where the production is low. Production of biofuel in China is pretty high, but China is expanding, increasing its forex reserves by exporting all these biofuels to the other nations in the country, in the other nations in the world. Next news is a very short and sweet news. I hope you all know about New Development Bank. This New Development Bank was conceptualized by BRICS, that is Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa, and India. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. These were the 5 nations which have initiated an organization, or the international organization, which we call it as BRICS. So BRICS established New Development Bank in 2015. And the main goal of this bank was to finance infrastructure and sustainable development projects, especially in the emerging as well as in the developing economy. So all funded projects through NDB, they should follow environmental and social governance standards. And remember that this bank was launched with an authorized capital. This bank was launched with an authorized capital of $100 billion against the total number of votes. What was the total number of votes? So that is 1 million votes. That is 1 million votes. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि अगर आपका फंडिंग है $100 billion, 1 million votes, which means 1 vote is equivalent to what? So 1 vote is equivalent to 100, 10 to the power billion and 9, 1 into 10 to the power 6. So this goes 3. So it comes out to be 1 vote. If you want to cast 1 vote in NDB, you must have invested $100,000 in the NDB. ठीक है जी? Now, अब हुआ क्या कि recently BRICS or NDB's membership is expanded. Now, Colombia as well as Uzbekistan, they have been included as the official members of NDB, but they are officially included as borrowing members only. That means they will have a right to borrow, not to contribute, not to vote while the decisions are going to be taken. So with their inclusion, the total number of NDB members have now increased to 11. If I talk about 11 members, out of this, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, these 5 members are known to everyone. These 5 members are known to everyone. Beside these 5 members, we have Bangladesh, then we have UAE, then we have Egypt. So these are not the observing members. These are the borrowing members. They have the right to borrow the funds. They have the right to become the full-fledged members. They have the right to borrow funds for their they have the right to borrow funds for their projects, and even they have a right to vote. But there is a condition that 55% of the total voting rights will be with BRICS nation, and rest of the 45% of the voting rights will be distributed among the non-BRIC nation members of NDB, which include Bangladesh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Colombia, I have written Colombia twice. So Colombia and Uzbekistan. Colombia and Uzbekistan, these are the 11 members. So if a nation wants to become a member of NDB, then they must be a member of United Nations. They must complete the process, which include getting the approval from NDB board. They should submit their formal documents, making required capital contribution, because if you make the required capital contribution, then only you will become the member. We call you as a borrowing member, and responding to your capital contribution, which is decided on the basis of your size of economy, you will be assigned with the votes, and these votes will be assigned out of 45%. These votes will be assigned out of 45%, because 55% votes are logged for BRICS nations itself, and these votes will be assigned on the basis of a price that one vote is equals to 100,000. One vote is equals to $100,000. Acha, Pallav is saying, sir, Ethiopia or Iran, are they member of NDB? Please check it once, guys. Are they member of NDB, or they are member of BRICS, or they are member of none? Give me the answer in the comment section by the time I continue my discussion. So the entry also ensured BRICS nation will retain 55% of the total power in the bank. These are the 11 members. Uruguay is basically the prospective member. It is in the line to join. It holds the status of prospective member, but Colombia and Uzbekistan, they hold the status of borrowing members. All these announcements were done during the 10th annual meeting of NDB Board of Governors, which was headed by the chairperson. The chairperson was Brazil's finance minister, which means the BRICS NDB's chair for this year from 2025 to 26 is with Brazil. So Brazil finance minister, along with the NDB governor for Brazil, along with the governor of, or NDB governor, which represent Brazil, they have chaired this particular event, and the name is F. Haddad. This is not so important. Very important is this, and this. This is very, very important. Theme: driving development, fostering innovation, cooperation, and impact through a multilateral development bank for Global South. So just remember this theme. It is really very important. Now moving to the next point, there are certain decisions taken. So Roman Serov, Russia, has been appointed as the vice president of NDB from September 25 to September 2030. On the other side, if I talk about the next year chairperson, so the next year chairperson or next year chair will be with Russia, and Russian Prime Minister will be the next chairperson of the meeting of Board of Governors, which will be held in 2026, and the vice chairperson will be Nirmala Sitharamanji. So this is again important. So they will both serve as a chairperson and vice chairperson until 11th annual meeting, which is going to be held in Russia in 2026. So this has been already discussed. I hope each and every point is clear to you. Now your homework is, you have to share the list of members of BRICS. So I'm talking about members of BRICS international organization. I've already shared with you the members of NDB, which is a development bank set up by BRICS. So I'm not interested in the members of NDB, which I have already discussed. Now I'm interested that you should give me the list of members of BRICS, and it include beyond these 5 countries as well. Colombia and Uzbekistan, they have officially joined the new development bank as associate member, permanent voting member, borrowing member, strategic advisor. So the answer is they have been included as what? So they have been included as borrowing members. Moving to the next. With the inclusion of Colombia and Uzbekistan, what will be the total count of NDB member countries now? What will be the total count of NDB members now? So the total count of NDB members has now increased from 9 to 11. It has now increased from 9 to 11. Last but not the least is your FSIB, Have you heard about FSIB, guys? FSIB was in news recently. Why it was in news? Because it has been set up recently. Why it has been set up? So in 2016, Indradhanush mission was launched on the recommendation of PJ Nayak committee, and in that 7 recommended initiatives for the banking sector or for the banking industry in order to improve the banking industry, PJ Nayak committee has recommended the second point, that is B, which call it as triple B, Bank Board Bureau. So this was basically an organization setup which will be responsible to identify or highlight the names or recommend the names of the individuals who can be appointed as the heads of public sector banks, but the final approval will be given by the appointments committee of the cabinet. But later on there was a problem कि सर ये जो BBB है, triple B है, it is not an official organization. So इस official organization को replace, इस unofficial organization को replace करके बनाया गया FSIB as an official organization, और इसके जो chairperson थे, the name was Bhanu Pratap Sharma. So recently there was a news that Bhanu Pratap Sharma will keep on serving as the chairperson of FSIB for 1 more year from July 2025 to July 2026. Simple सी news है. So appointment committee of the cabinet has extended the term of Bhanu Pratap Sharma as the chairman of FSIB. 6 part-time members have also witnessed this extension in their term. So they have witnessed the extension till 30th of June 2026. दोबारा लगा तो दोबारा extension कर दी जाएगी. Bhanu Pratap Sharma is the former secretary, Department of Personnel and Training under the Ministry of Personnel. He was earlier heading BBB. Then after setting up of FSIB, he was shifted from BBB as a chairperson of FSIB. Can you give me the full form of FSIB? Can you give me the full form of FSIB in the comment section? Next point is the first chairperson of the Bank Board Bureau was Bhanu Pratap Sharma only. And he has headed BBB after it was set up in the announcement which was made in 2016. फिर FSIB बना, तब भी उसके जो first chairman बने, the same, that is the first chairman was the same, that is Bhanu Pratap Sharma. So FSIB, it stands for Financial Services Institution Bureau. It is a government body that select top level executives for public sector banks, financial institutions, public sector insurance companies. Main role is it acts as a primary talent hunter or talent, I would say, identifier, or we call it as primary headhunter, who will find out the whole-time directors as well as the chairpersons of government-owned banks, insurance companies and other financial institutes. But only the recommendation will be given by FSIB, and the final approval, or I would say the final selection, will be done after the approval of Appointments Committee of the Cabinet, and the Appointment Committee of the Cabinet is headed by none other than Prime Minister of the country. So FSIB was earlier known as Triple B, which was formed in April 2016, and then it was replaced by FSIB, that is Financial Services Institution Bureau, is set up since 2022. So here we have the question from this particular news. Last question of the evening, last news of the evening. So give me the answer. In July 2025, Appointment Committee of the Cabinet extended the tenure of Bhanu Pratap Sharma as a chairperson of FSIB. Which of the following statement is incorrect? First, it was restructured from the former Banks Board Bureau in 2022. That is true. This organization selects whole-time directors as well as non-executive chairmen in public sector financial institutions. That is true. Its recommendations are subject to Appointments Committee of the Cabinet approval. That is true. It functions as the top level headhunter for PSU financial appointments. That is also true. But it is chaired by RBI's governor and supervised by Finance Ministry. That is not true. So the Appointment Committee of the Cabinet has extended the tenure. What is incorrect? So it is not headed by RBI governor. So C statement is incorrect. So that is going to be the answer of this particular question. Sam, Dhananjay, Sakshi, Vaibhav, Palu, you have given the correct answer. Very good. So that will be all from my side, guys. If you want to download the PDF, it will be available on my Telegram channel. If you think that this channel, or if you think that this session was worthy to watch, do share your feedback in the comment section. and I will be looking forward your feedbacks in the comment section. And even if you have any suggestion to this for this particular session, or if you have anything else you want to add, anything else you want me to share with you, which will be beneficial for you in your upcoming examination, do mention in the comment section. So I'm very open to this part, that if you suggest, I will be including your suggestions for sure in my upcoming sessions to go. So I hope the questions which we are discussing after the news, they are working, they are helping you to revise the news right away, and it will help you to revise your content in the near future as well. Do share your feedback that whether this take is good or not, and if you have any other doubt, you can ask me in the next session. Is it fine, guys? Chalo. So before I conclude, I have a last announcement to make. If you are looking forward to clear your PFRD examination, then Testbook is the one-stop solution. Use a code MADHAV in order to subscribe to our regulatory bodies courses for next 6 months. But for that, you need to use a code MADHAV to enjoy the given discount. Along with that, if you want to join or you want to subscribe our regulatory bodies courses for 12 months, it is available for 7699. Again, you have to use the code MADHAV in order to enjoy this offer. So that will be all, guys. We'll catch you soon. Bye-bye. Take care. Good luck. God bless you all.